I'm hanging out with my friend right here.
Hello.
We're smoking, we're chilling, we're kicking it. And I got a question. He's single, okay? This is just a basic question. What would you say? I have this friend of mine. He's young. He's 23 years old. He's married to a woman that is 21. They have a kid, like little baby girl, which is 2 years old. And they're talking about being divorced. But then again, they been together since long time, about 8 years already. And I was like, I don't know what should I tell him, regardless of what I've been through or whatever. But what do you think you should do? If I don't know, you don't know him, what kind of advice could you give him? Since you think you can actually give him an advice, or can you assume something? Let me hear you, just from your perspective. They're going through divorce. She's like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out.
I get you.
And he's like
Just
crying
for
alone.
yeah, I get you. I guess from my perspective, it might be a little different because I think by unpopular demand, I still think I'm part of like I guess the quote unquote like lover boy thing. So like for me, I don't know. Marriage is really big. You said the kid is 2.
Two. She's a little girl. What do you think he should do? Like beg. He's like going through things. What's the best advice for somebody that going through emotional damage per se? Emotional. Like man. Like we were talking about regret.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, you know what? There were so many things I would be regretting on right now. But I decided to say, you know what? Fuck it. That's in the past. There's nothing I can
grow
do
from
about
it.
it. I'm done. But he's not gonna be able to. He can't see it as my perspective. So what I can't give him an example of what he should be doing. But I told him I can only open up to you what I did.
Exactly.
But what do you think? You're single. You're put yourself in his shoes. You're about to lose your wife with a 2-year-old girl. Divorce.
Well, I think first and foremost, if they were together for that long, then obviously there's like a lot of love there. There's obviously gonna be, or there was a lot of love there. You obviously had enough love to have a child. I believe first and foremost, that both of their priorities should be the child. However, it's one of those things where you have to. If I was in his shoes, I think I'd be alright. But it's like not knowing the guy. It's kind of just like, is that process gonna put any harm towards the child, or is that harming the growth of the child? Because I believe if before you could like take steps towards anything, I believe that's probably like the first and foremost foundation. And like if the child was getting hurt, no matter if you're trying to be better or not, then I don't know how much that could work. But if the child's good, then I would suggest you like work on it, you know. And so it starts to get to that point where it's like I'm a man of like compromise. I believe compromising is like big, and so like the woman's gonna obviously hold most of the power and most of like what's going on in this situation, and obviously she's gonna have her feelings towards the problem. So it's trying to come to her in realization of like I've done wrong, like you're working on it, and then it's not just like because women are not like they love words, but like they want to see action. So then you gotta kind of prove yourself that you gotta kind of find out slowly but surely, and like it's like building trust again, So it's kind of like the trust is gone, and so it's like slowly but surely, like what can I compromise? What can I do better to do this? And then at the very root, you kind of got to go back to like you guys were together for 8 years, Obviously, if there was like 4 of those years, you got those puppy dog years. Like, what did you do, like, to get her? Like, it should be like you're almost trying to get her all over again. Like, I always believe you should never stop flirting with your girl, even if you're in a relationship with her. So it's like those things where it's like you got to kind of, while compromising and slowly, like, build a spark again.
Yes.
And then I believe if you could build just a little bit of that kindling, and you already have a child, that's already a lot of, like, how do I put this? That's already a lot to create healing, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, like, once you try to rebuild that spark, you try to put compromises, you not only talk.
There's gotta be a lot of change between both of them.
You don't gotta, it's not always just talking about what you gotta do. You
there's gotta be action,
it.
compromise.
Exactly.
Like, what are we gonna do to make these better?
Exactly, and it's
for the good of the colony, per se, for the good of the child.
And the thing about compromise is, like, well, I might not be like, this is what I'm uncomfortable with. I know this is what you're uncomfortable with. Like, we gotta come to a middle ground so that we're both not, like, struggling, because most times you have a relationship, you have a problem, it's like, this is my problem, this is where I'm at, and this is where I'm at, and what happens is, it's like, you either come here or you come here. Most time, and sometimes that could work, but I believe most times if you come to each one side or the other, there's always going to be resentment or problems, because if you're being real about it, unless you had a real long conversation, you actually changed your mind, you're still going to be feeling this way, even if she brought you to this side, or if he brought you to her side, regardless. So I believe compromise is ultimately always the best thing. I'm single, so I guess I can't talk that much, but, like, compromise, I believe, is always the best thing, because then you guys meet in the middle and you guys both have some sort of satisfaction. And then I just believe you gotta, like, actually come up with a good compromise, because a half-assed compromise is
now when we talk about being more communicative, what do you think they should be communicated based on as a couple? And I know you had a girlfriend before.
Yeah. So
communication. What kind of communication are we talking about? Like,
yeah, I could talk about. I believe I had good communication. I think one of our things was, like, we always. I think what was good about me and her. I can't speak for these two people, but we both knew, like, her boundaries, and so we both knew what we were uncomfortable with. But what we focused on in the communication part was, as soon as we knew something was, like, not good for us, we talked about it, and then, like, evidently we do come up with a compromise, because you got to communicate all, like, little issues. You also got to communicate, like, your good times too. You got to communicate the good and bad, because you want to be there for a person, but you don't want to just cry to them. You want to be there to cry with them, laugh with them.
Because I would say this, I think something that we forget to do is create those magical moments with our partner, whether it's at work. There's gotta be, like, the purpose of why are we doing what we're doing as a couple.
Yeah, there's gotta be. I believe that's just real love. Like, there's gotta be real love there, and it's like I kind of said before, it's like, even if you're still dating your girlfriend, you should still flirt with her. Like, she's not yours. Like, you should still be doing things to.
And you gotta believe that you gotta earn each other.
Exactly.
Earn each other, right?
Very much so. And I think one thing that comes with a healing journey as big is kind of just letting some of your ego down, both of them.
Both of them.
Because if someone's not letting their ego down and one is, then it's kind of going to be unhealthy and trying to grow evenly together back up.
Because this is a couple things, so I think no matter, as a man, he's got to become a man, and it's really hard to even say what a man is, but
True.
It means you're building yourself and what is it that you want. And if you want your wife and your kids, means you gotta do what it takes to keep them. But I think in this society, I believe that women or family are asking for a 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 27-year-old young person to have so much, to have the achieve or look forward to achievements and successful things. But in reality, it's hitting everybody hard, where they're like, it's really tough. For a 3-year-old.
I think expectations are wild for both.
Yes,
expectations are wild for both, because you got, and
even
this goes both
woman.
ways, because you got women and looking for like, I guess you could say middle to high profile men, in a society where it's just like hard to like, well, I guess they know too, but in a society where it's just so much tougher than it was like 7 years in like every category of life. And then you got like men's expectations of just like an automatic housewife that just like, you know, supposed to just submit, you know. So it's like you have all these things which is not really like, I guess in this society nowadays, very common. And so, like I said, man, it's just
Like for me, it's really hard
gotta-
to give him an advice because a lot of things have changed. You know, I'm getting divorced at 18 years after, and he's going through that way too young. It hits really hard. Whether you think it's unexpected, whether how you're gonna get it, what age. But my advice to him was just keep your mind positive, strong, keep working on yourself, keep working on your achievements, keep giving love to your
confidently.
like
You know, you gotta do it with confidence. You know, you can't. That's one thing I believe about being a man, and about one thing about that women liking a man and should liking a man is confidence. You know, about
Confidence.
going against those things. Like even if you're, you know, you're struggling, even though you're going through,
Like-
you could be at rock bottom. As long as you
Don't
have some
say-
confidence to get out of rock bottom, and you're not just dwelling on that, then I believe there's a lot of work there, and there's a lot of healing there as well.
like even me, I was like, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change. I gotta change. I gotta do the change, and we're doing the change. So I think you're doing for the right track. Keep doing, keep building yourself, and love will come to you because you're gonna start giving yourself love. So to love to share, becoming a good man. You're working on yourself. Be humble, and we all make mistakes.
Man,
You know,
we
so
do.
keep going. Hopefully you can fix your marriage
Yeah.
for the sake of the colony, which is your kids, yourself, your souls, your love. Because I'll be realistic to you guys, after divorce, nobody's ever happy.
Yeah, man. You're not.
Separation, it's done. No matter, you're gonna say, I'm gonna find this, I'm gonna find that. You have, love is right there. You gotta build it.
If you experience that happiness, that happiness that got you married, man, I just want to say, like, it is out there again. However, why would you want to let go of that? Like, something that was already in your grasp, something that you saw was so beautiful, obviously, and then you had, furthermore, to build a dream, a household, and then don't give up on that, man. Be confident in yourself. Have compromise. Make great effort. And get to that happiness again. And, you know, do that by growing yourself. Do that by loving your daughter genuinely. Do that by getting back out there and living life just a little. You know, be comfortable with yourself again before you can be comfortable with moving and growing. You gotta make sure you're good, man, mentally. It's a hard thing. It's never. I'm not saying you're ever gonna like just be completely happy, but you gotta get yourself to a good state of mind where you can be like, all right, let's grow. Like, I'm ready for growth. I'm ready to put this effort in, and
Second page.
it
Just
might not
second episode.
exactly, and it might not. Even if you put that effort in hard, that first week there might not be results.
We're all making
the
a
second
book.
week might not be results.
We're all making the book
Third
of our
week
lives.
might change your life, though.
Yep. Thank you guys for listening.
Of course.
What's your name?
I'm Sydney Inglesmall, by the way. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, Luis.